night in GOE. So, enjoying life is a really amazing thing. And really, it's the most amazing thing, because if we enjoy being alive, everything is good. And if we don't enjoy being alive, everything is bad. It doesn't matter how much we have, it doesn't matter who we're with, it doesn't matter where we are, it sucks. But if we're enjoying life, even if we have nothing, in those moments of enjoyment, everything is great. So, in our culture, we've sort of gotten to this thing of we've got work, which is unenjoyable, and then we've got play, which is enjoyable. But most of us spend most of our time working, and a very small amount of time playing. And, watching movies is one of the things in the United States that is commonly done as play, as enjoyment. So what we've done is we've created Movie Night in the GOE, which is we're combining the reality of work and play, where we're finding a way to enjoy being alive, but it's actually productive. It's actually beneficial. So the purpose of tonight is to give you an opportunity to learn, to see, to hear things that you've never seen before, to get information that you've never gotten before, and to also enjoy yourself in that process. And ideally, we can find a way to have life be that way as well, where instead of working and then playing when we have time off, our work and our play is actually simultaneously the same thing, where every day we're more abundant, we're more healthy, we're more alive, we're more in love than we were the day before, every single day. So it is possible to live a life where our work is our play, and our play is our work. And the movie tonight that we're going to show is on Cobb building. And Cobb building, if you're not familiar with it, is one of the oldest forms of building that has been around in humanity. And all it is clay, sand, and straw, which are virtually available for free almost anywhere in the world. And in a lot of places, you can actually find dirt that has the perfect ratio of clay and sand already in it, and you don't have to filter them out and mix them together, blah, blah, blah. So, clay, sand, and straw, mixed in the perfect ratio, can be used to build a building from the ground up, and it is possible to build a building, a house, with just a shovel. A shovel would be the only tool that you would even need, and it would cost nothing. It would be possible to, on a piece of property, dig that clay and that sand, cut that, or pull up that straw, mix it together with water, and build your whole house for no cost whatsoever with only a shovel. It is possible, it's totally doable. On top of that, you could take that same founding method and you could build a house that's much more elaborate. You could put in plumbing, you could put in electricity, you could have TVs, you could have furniture, you could have all the exact same comforts that you have in a normal home, but it's built out of cob. And so the benefits of cob are many. One is that it lasts for thousands of years if it's taken care of. A standard home that's built in the city or the suburbs, it's only going to last for maybe 100 years. 150 years, it's not going to last much longer than that. You've got foundations that crack. It's just built out of plywood, drywall, and 2x4s. And so none of that really lasts very long. You've got roofs that have to be replaced, you get bug problems, you get rodent problems, you've got all the space in the attic, all the space inside the walls that get infested with things, you get mold, tons of problems with these houses. Well, on top of that, you've got to heat them and you've got to cool them because they're not insulated. Well, cob is extremely insulated. It's the perfect insulation material because one, it breathes. It's porous. It actually breathes. Two, it's got insulation qualities to it, but three, it's also got radiant mass. So if you build a cob house properly, what happens is that it doesn't matter how cold it is outside or how hot it is outside, it's always the exact same temperature inside. Summer or winter, it's the same temperature inside. It's just like if you build underground. If you dig to a certain level of soil, it's always 55 degrees. It doesn't matter how hot it is or how cold it is. When you dig down deep enough in the soil, and depending on where you are on the earth, that depth is different. Here in Texas, it's probably like 5 feet. If you dig down 5 feet into the soil, it's going to always be the same temperature, always. And so when you build a cob house, you can create that same type of reality where it's always a very similar temperature on the inside, whether it's hot or cold. So it lasts for thousands of years. You don't have to heat it or cool it. And in Texas, most people in the suburbs spend $700 to $1,000 a month on air conditioning. So that's a lot of money. Plus, air conditioning is extremely unhealthy. Right? You're breathing in all this centralized air, which is horrible. It's dry. It's a lot of times got all sorts of dust and all sorts of stuff from the ducts. It's just horrible air compared to real air. So it's not healthy and it costs a lot of money. It's built out of sustainable materials, so you don't have to deforest, the Amazon forest or Canada or whatever. It's like in Canada, we get most of our wood from Canada. So just the way we live in the United States, we're actually deforesting whole nations just so that we can live the way we live. So with cob, you don't need any of that deforestation. So it lasts 1,000 times longer. Instead of 100 years, you've got thousands of years. So it's lasting hundreds of times longer. And you don't even need any of that deforestation to take place. You can do it out of all local materials. So you can actually build your house with materials without having to ship them from anywhere. Not just wood, but anything. You can get all the materials, clay, sand, and straw, can all come locally. And if you have a big enough piece of land, you can actually harvest them all from your own piece of land. It can be a simple home, or it can be an elaborate home. You can have just as many comforts in it as you would have in any other house. It's fireproof. It can't burn. It's clay and sand. It can't burn. No fire danger whatsoever. Hurricane proof. Wind cannot blow it down. It's way too strong, way too solid. It's pretty much tornado proof, and it's virtually earthquake proof. Unless the earth actually breaks open, which is extremely rare, it's not gonna. There's the seismic vibrations isn't gonna collapse it, because unlike cement, it's not super rigid. It seems like it's totally solid. You could drive a truck into it, and the truck is going to explode, and the wall's going to be like... But it actually has movement, sort of like a tree. Trees can handle high winds because they're really strong. If you punch it, it hurts. But in high wind, it bends. And so, see, nature is perfect. Nature has adapted to thrive on this earth perfectly. And the things that we build are crap compared to what nature has designed. So a cob building is about as close as you can get to building with nature. And it's perfect because, like I said, it breathes. Cement doesn't breathe. It has some bend to it like a tree. Cement doesn't have that bend. It just cracks and it crumbles. So you don't need foundations. Saves a lot of money. Saves cement. Cement is an extremely taxing substance. It takes a lot of resources to make cement. Cob, you just dig it out of the earth wherever you are. So these are all benefits. It's cheaper, way cheaper, especially if you do it yourself, and it's extremely beautiful. And you'll be able to see some of the beautiful examples of homes in this video. So those are all the main elements of why it's so amazing, and there's other types of earthen building you can do, that are also really great, but cob is sort of like the epitome of simple, natural design. This is a really good video. It shows, sort of a range of different types of earthen buildings, straw bale, different types of things like that. And that's just sort of a brief overview, a brief summary of why it's so amazing. The only other thing that really needs to be taken note is that a lot of people, when they see, whether this is your first time or whether it's not, when people become aware of something like this, it's sort of like, okay, why would I build any other way? Because it makes no sense. Every single thing about this building is superior, and everything about this building, which is what everyone lives in, is inferior. And yet, this is what everyone lives in. So, it's important to ask why. And if you ask why, you're going to find a few common answers. One, because most people aren't even aware that this exists. They aren't even aware that this exists. Number two is that the education system is actually training people to build this way. All these engineering degrees, blah, 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 it's all crap compared to this. But people are actually being trained to build this way. And the main reason is because the government actually regulates the building. If you don't meet this code, if you don't meet this standard, if it's not certified, if it's not licensed, blah, 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 you can't build it. They actually tell you on your own property what you can and cannot build. And, I mean, that's just completely ridiculous. So if you think that you're free, and yet you're not allowed to build what you want to build on your own property, you need to rethink what freedom is, because that's not free. That's not even close to being free. And if that's what you agree to, and that's what you agree with, that's fine. But if you believe that you deserve to be free, then you have to ask yourself, well, why do I continually live under the dictatorship of a higher authority? So that's a really deep and powerful question to begin to ponder. And I'm not saying you have to do anything about it, but just ask those questions and see what comes up for you, because most people in the United States live in sort of this fragmented duality mindset. Oh yeah, I'm free. And yet every single day you're driving a car with a license, right? You're registering it, you're paying insurance and inspection. You got a license plate you got to renew and pay for. You're not even allowed to go what speed you want to go. You're not even allowed to choose if you want to wear a seatbelt or not. You're not able to grow your own food on your own property to feed your own children. Right? None of those things is freedom. And those are all the most important parts of our life. So ask those questions. And enjoy this movie. It's amazing. Bam!
I didn't realize there was a baby in there. I just saw a nice pile of blankets.